few things before I start the video, or things that I want you guys to think about, okay? Do you think about the treatment of the American Indians were fair?
No.
Was it fair the way they were being forced out or being treated?
No.
Why do you think that the journey became known as the Trail of Tears? I know we talked about it a little bit.
Because it was sad and good.
Should people have listened to President Andrew Jackson?
No. Yes.
I mean, I can see how both of that could go one or the other. Kind of, yes. I mean, he made it sound like he would help them, and then even though they won in court, he had to move anyway, so there's that.
Well, probably because he was scared they would come back.
That could be it too. Okay, so let's watch this really quick, and then we'll go over some questions.
More and more settlers came to the United States to claim more and more territory. It was land that American Indians had lived on for thousands of years. The settlers thought they had a right to the land because it was part of North America. The American Indians thought they should be able to stay on that land since they had been living there for many generations. Battles started between the settlers and the American Indians. Many people on both sides were hurt or killed. Andrew Jackson became the 7th U.S. president in 1829. He promised to solve the problems between the white settlers and American Indians. President Jackson and Congress passed the Indian Removal Act of 1830. The Indian Removal Act said the president could move tribes away from their homelands to a place west of the Mississippi River. The place was called Indian Territory. This land is part of what we know today as Oklahoma. There were 5 major tribes affected by the Indian Removal Act. They were the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Muskogee, Creek, and Seminole tribes. Some signed papers agreeing to give up their homeland in exchange for new land in Indian Territory. Others, like the Seminole, fought to stay in the southeastern United States. Some Seminoles hid in the Florida swamps to keep from being removed. There were 3 Seminole wars between the tribe and the United States. However, most of the tribe ended up moving west. The Cherokee tried to win their battles in court. They lived near the border of Georgia and Tennessee. They were good farmers and had many crops. They raised large herds of cattle and horses. The Cherokee had their own alphabet, knew how to read, and published, wrote, and printed their own newspaper. When the Cherokee took the state of Georgia to court, they won. But President Jackson decided to move the Cherokee off their lands anyway. Over 70,000 American Indians were forced to leave their home and go to Indian Territory. It was a terrible trip for most of them. They could not bring much with them. They had to travel long hours, and they suffered from cold, hunger, sickness, and other dangers. Of course, they were very sad to leave home, too. For these reasons, the trip has been named the Trail of Tears. Around 4,000 Cherokee died on the Trail of Tears. That was about 1/4 of the entire tribe. Thousands of American Indians from other tribes died along the way also. What do you think are some of the dangers the American Indians came across on the Trail of Tears? The Trail of Tears journeys ended in 1839. The U.S. had taken the land it wanted. The American Indian way of life was changed forever. The tribes had to make a new start in Indian Territory. List what you think they had to do to start over in their new land.
What do you think that they would have to do to start over in their new land?
Make their old crops into new crops.
Yes. And then, of course, what did they, do you remember we talked about where they lived? Remember we talked about the shape? Teepees, yes. So they'd have to build their homes again.
They have to build and they have to build the TV their own ABC. And their own ABC.
Well, they have their own ABCs. We're talking more about once they move, what are they starting over? So we have so far their crops,
Oh, I got it.
trying to find food,
Trying to find
making their teepees.
and try to build their own territory.
Yeah, this is true too. Okay. So when it says, what do you think about some of the dangers the American Indians came across on the Trail of Tears? What do you think some of the what do you think some of the dangers were? Yes. Of course, but how did they die? What dangers? Think about what would be out there while you're walking. We talk
Bears, sickness, hungry water,
not clean water,
hungry, food,
you know, they bought fruits. Yeah. If it was cold outside, there was snow on the ground, it'd be hard to hunt.
Yep.
They're in an unknown area, an unknown territory. They don't know, you know, they were familiar where their homes were. So that would have been something, sickness. These are all things as well, yes. So we're gonna go over a little bit of a little assessment. We're gonna do it together. No, I don't.
can't read time.
It doesn't matter whose name is on top. I want you guys to read with this, okay?
Wait, what if it's not on?
It's gonna be okay because we're just going along with it. I want you guys to follow along with me. I think it's important to see visuals. It's okay. Stop. It's all right. I said it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. I'll pass them back up. You're gonna get credit for it. Brian, I'm gonna take some dollars. Sammy, do I need to take $1? Brian? And then you guys share on this one, okay? Just share along that one. Okay.
I told you it's fine. Look at the paper.
All right, so we talked about the American Indians, the Trail of Tears. How do you think the American Indians viewed their land? Where do you think that how they viewed their land?
They thought that people could not own it.
Let me reword that. When I say view their land, do you think did the American Indians think it was important, their land?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was very important. It was their little treasure, their home. So they viewed it, yes. So they thought that people could not own land. So that's an important thing to remember too. Indians didn't think anyone should own any land. They respected the land, they respected the animals, they respected everything about it, and didn't think the settlers had any right. In American Indian culture, people believe that all natural objects, yes, they had souls. You don't need a pencil, you're fine. They believed everything had magic to it, that everything had souls, to animals, to the tree, to the soil that they built their crops and homes on. How many American Indian tribes did we talk about? How many are there?
5.
5. And then when they were trying to tell them that they needed to move, what part of territory is it now known as?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Very good. What do you call it when a group of people move from one place to another?
Migration.
Migration. What is a nomad? What are the people? What are they doing? Why would you call
Someone who hunts buffalo.
someone that they're searching for food, but they're leaving. They're leaving and going from one place to another looking for food. Is a nomad. This will be in your guys' test, so I need you guys to make sure you seem to understand it and get it. American Indians were forced to leave. Some of them did not. Some of them took, what was it that they said? They assigned agreements, correct?
Yes.
Let's see about. I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes. So go ahead and get your pencil out. We reviewed them. Turn to this last page. I want you to go through these three right here. These three right here. We just went over them. These three right here. Right here. I want you to turn the page. Yes, right here. Get out your pencils. I want you guys to go ahead and do this last assessment. You did it on that one. Turn the page. This on this one right here. It's on the second page. Hold on 1 minute. Honey, here. We went over that. We went over the first page yesterday. I want you guys to kind of go over this one and do it. Yes. I got it. It's okay, pick it up. Yes, I just want you to go ahead and go over it. I'm just going to give you credit for working together in the class, so I don't need you to worry about that, okay? Go ahead and have a seat.
Wait, that's Martin.
Okay, Brian. Come on, go have a seat then. I'm gonna. You guys need to make sure you have your pencils sharpened by the beginning of the day.
I got an extra pencil.
Come on, I need everyone looking alive. I'm gonna be giving dollars to ones that are working. I need you to be working hard.
Wait,
We're working on the questions. It's not about whose it is. We've been passing it up and on. We're just working on this, okay? I want you to just focus on this. Okay?
I got it.
Focus.
What does the answer say? I'm ready.
David, get busy. Get busy.
Which tribe hid the swamps and fought against moving to the American territory? If you need to, you can go back through your.
What does this say?
It says Seminole, honey.
Then, what?
Please quit hollering out. Raise your hands.
Brian.
That's okay. I just still want you to read it. I want you to go back on there. And then after you're done with that, I want you to read the Indian Removal Act on the page. We're just kind of going over stuff that we've already talked about, but this is something going to be new that we're going to talk about tomorrow. I want you to open this up. The Indian Removal Act, primary source. We're going to focus on this tomorrow. I want you to read it now, though, for ones that have already finished.
I'm already done.
Sammy, I'm about to take $1 from you if you keep hollering out.
It wasn't me.
Who's hollering out over there?
Zion.
Zion, I need you to raise your hand and not be hollering out.
He thought that was funny too. He smiled.
Yes. It's okay. No. I don't want you raising your hand and asking to go to the bathroom or get a drink. I need you to work on your stuff. If you are done, read. There's plenty of here to read. This is important stuff to know about. Right here. We're reading right here. Also take the time. I want you to look over. Did you do this? Well, I need you to do it. I need you to pay attention and do this. I want you to read this after you're done. If you have extra time, on the Trail of Tears, there's also 2 questions that I want you guys to answer. We've already talked about it. I got it. Okay. Okay. There's a tie for Teacher of the Year. I know we're doing this, but that's just kind of what happens when you're teaching. And she wants you to pick. Okay. I want you to read.
I know, but what are we supposed to do on these 2 questions?
What do you think are some of the damages the American Indians came across on the Trail of Tears? We've talked about it. I don't want you talking it out. I don't want you saying it out loud. I want you just to write it.
What did I write? Oh, so wait, that's my pencil.
Right here. I want you to do these 2 sentences. There's questions. What do you think there's some of the damages the American Indians came across on the Trail of Tears? We've discussed it. Aries, honey. Look. We're going to be doing these social studies. You guys need to get used to just wrapping that up like that. Look, yes. Just folding it. It already has a crease. You got it.
Sickness.
I want you to spell it out and do your best, or get the dictionary, okay? Do your best and sound it out. Okay.
How do you spell cold?
No.
Cold. C-O-L-D.
C-O-L-D.
It is okay if you guys want to work together in your little groups as long as you don't get too loud. Because we've already went over this. I'm okay if you guys want to help each other. Right here. So you're putting, what do you think that the dangers in America? You said you got sickness. What else do you think? Poisons, hunger. Just try to spell it out the best you can. We're not giving count off for spelling. And you can go back in your book as well, or in your little article, and see a lot of how to spell stuff. But you can work together. Are you guys looking and reading over this? Right here. What do you think some of the dangers our American Indians came across? You're answering it. We've talked about it in whole group. Some of the dangers. Mackenzie, what are some of the dangers that they would have came across? When they were walking on that. Here. Yes, write it down. Disease. Could be the weather. The weather could have been another thing. Yes, Mackenzie.
How do you spell cold?
Cold. You have it good. Cold.
C-O-L-D.
Very good. You already had it.
That's what was
Yes. Don't worry so much about the spelling. I understand that some of it is hard to spell, but it's gonna be okay. What else would it be? Since it was not weather. Weather's a good one, right?
I'm looking at our
I need, are you, I know you're on it. Well, you're in, you could also put, weather. Uh-huh. You guys are in the right one. Sign language? Here. Where's yours at? Right here. And then I want you to put parentheses. There it is. What else is it other than that? You put hunger. So you did good. What's this one? Right here. S-I-C-K. And then if you wanted to add, to make it ness, sickness, put N-E-S-S-N. Sickness. What else?
What is this?
Weather.
It was sad.
Sandy.
What would that mean? Some of the things? What were some of the things?
Weather.
Put that on there. So you do your best.
High school weather ended 1839. The U.S. had taken the land. It wanted
That's the blend, and then
the
American
Indian way of the land change for labor. The tribe had to make a new land in India. This what do you think they have had to
this is right here.
rebuild?
Do are some of the things.
To start over in their new land.
The Trojans, remember they were going down the hill and they were walking long hours. So it could be the weather. Yeah, they walked for a long time. Did you do that?
Let me copy Geo. Because
There's a lot of things that should be put in.
Find yours up.
stuff. Wait.
Okay, now read the table, this. Read all of those boys this, and then they can answer the questions themselves. So read the second paragraph.
This is Woody. I'm wrong. This is Woody.
One. Read in the first sentence. And then
This
they
is Woody.
The Trojans journey ended in 1831. The U.S. had taken the land. It won. So they already did okay. So the American Indians forever. The tribes had to make a new start in Indian territory. List what you think they had to do to start over. Remember when we talked about the home and the duties?
Read this and answer the question.
They would have had to found food, shelter. It's a lot of things that they needed to still find.
There has to be. There has to be weather.
I know, I understand.
No, that says wind pipe.
Are you looking for weather?
Yeah.
W-E.
Can I spell home?
Are you there? Yeah. You're looking at, you have the H.
H-O-M-E. Almost. You're doing good.
Did they put out the alphabet?
And then you two discuss it, figure out what the answer is, write it down.
Write what they would have had to have done once they got there. once they got to the territory, which is what we talked about, is Oklahoma now, what would they have to have done? Yeah, well, no, I'm talking about after they were kicked out, what did we write? They were kicked out and they had Montefileteers and they came to their new land. What would they have to do to survive there? If you went and you ended up on a new land, you'd have to get, I would imagine, wood for fire, their home, food. Yeah, so those are several things that you can write down.
How do you spell made?
How do you spell what?
Made?
I'm done.
Yes.
B-E.
How do I spell build?
B-U-I-L-D.
1839, the U.S. has taken the land, the American Indians. Territory built in
What
shell territory and new houses. Yeah, that's good.
So now y'all have to write down an answer.
You want to?
Answer the question.
cereal? Alright. I don't know how to spell cereal. But did I just put cereal in there?
C-E-R-E-A-L.
You have to look at this.
Wait, C-E-R?
So some have already been finished and wanted to go ahead and go forward, and I told them that that was okay. There's a map on the back. It's just a little activity
Okay, S.
about mapping the Trail of Tears.